All right, here we go. Another edition of True Brew Bobcast here at the end of Detente Road in Youngsville. Today I have Mr. Fernando Perez Viart. Am I pronouncing that right?
Correct. Thank you.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
All right.
And thank you both for having me here in your show. For me, I'm so excited to be here, but also the most important thing we are going to talking about Cuba. That is my passion.
Great. So I tell you what, let's start off with that. Tell us your journey from Cuba to wonderful Acadiana.
Yeah, well, I was a lucky guy that won the visa lottery for in 1998. Was a program that the United States has in place for Cubans, and I won one of the plays. And after from the time that I won and that travel here passed about 8 years. Because I was a doctor in my country at that time. The government allowed me to come to the United States, and I had to wait for all of the time to come here. The worst part in that scenario was that my wife and my little daughter had to came first. They didn't. They came to Louisiana, specifically to Lafayette, that offered that opportunity. They waited here for me for about 5 years.
Wow.
It was tough, but at the end, the lives reward you. I got the opportunity after working on Cuba and everything that the government told me I had to do before I left the country. I came here, reunified with my family, and started a new life.
So they received their visa before you. How did they get to come here first?
No, we get the visa together.
Okay.
The problem is that for political reason, the Cuban government not allow me to come in at that time. The United States Embassy renewed was willing to renew my visa, but not the visa for my daughter and my wife. That reason we had to make the decision. You had to go if we wanted to get that chance. She made it. It was tough for her. It was a difficult time for her, but she didn't, and I'm happy. Unfortunately, she did. She did good here, establishing her. It wasn't easy for her and my daughter, but we did it, and we're here.
So about 15 years you've been in Acadiana.
It's gonna be 15 years on November the 8th. I arrived in Acadiana.
So when you got here, did you unite with other Cuban Americans?
Yes. When Cuban, we are a really not unite group, but we are people that like gardening together. And I start looking for other Cuban here. Start, that conversation, coming together all the time, helping each other. That is what we start hearing.
And why did y'all choose Lafayette?
At the moment that my wife came to Lafayette was the small city that offered her to her. The government at that time offered big city. For a woman with a little girl was hard to start again in a big city. A small city was the best choice that she took at the moment. And I'm so happy for her to that shop, you know?
Well, I sure want to come back and pick up the story right where you're at in Acadiana because we have some things to talk about there. But let's talk about Cuba a second, okay? So people like, for example, my age and older or maybe a little younger, you think of Cuba, you think of 1950s Cuba, you sort of think of Ernest Hemingway and just all of the movie type of things and all the fun times that the United States and Cuba had once upon a time. Is that just another place and another time that'll never come back? I mean, what would you say on how Americans sort of view Cuba from sort of 50 years ago?
It's gonna be totally different, you know? It's still some place that can remind you Cuba on the 50s. But Cuba have been changed a lot inside. And sometimes for good and sometimes for bad. No doubt the impact of the embargo that the United States have in Cuba has deteriorated the economy of the country. And also some internal decision that not allow really uh, Cuba improving uh, the the country with hard words. No, it's just until 2019 that Cuba changed the constitution to allow now has a private sector that is a small and medium private sector.
So you grew up under the whole Fidel regime. I mean, what? Let me ask you this: what do you think is some misunderstandings or misconceptions Americans might have with Cubans?
Okay, I had to say Cuba, uh, the United States, specifically Florida, New Jersey, California, and here, Louisiana, specifically New Orleans, have too many things in common. The influence Cuba in the culture of this place is huge. And Cuba is more approaching to the United States due to the political fight that is more that political is economical fight is that kind of misunderstood between two sides, principal and people. No, Americans have been banned to visit Cuba as a tourist for 16 years. They just can go for Cuba for a specific reason. And also on the other side, they took position and they not allow in the past Cuban mixing with tourists from America, to get it that kind of influence. It's just 3 or 4 years ago that we start has this kind of influence each other again. Um, from my point, the best thing that American and Cuba can coming together as a country, as a people, is in a cultural exchange. Allow Cubans coming here, Cubans that are living in the island. You have to remember we have about 2.5 million Cubans living right now in the United States. But I'm talking about the Cuban that remain in the island, coming to the United States, specifically and doing advocacy for allow Louisiana to come to Louisiana, share the culture, and also from our government allow North American people go to Cuba and exchange with Cuban population. They're gonna see that Cubans are so friendly people, so open, very welcome people, and the relation is there. You know, it's never losing. It's there. The matter of fact, I grew up in the back of the government looking for everything from America.
Has that softened a good bit here in the last 5 years, where the government sort of softened in letting enterprise take place in Cuba?
Yeah, you can see the change. It's not enough because the deterioration of the island is huge in the economical side. But you can see the difference. When Obama opened the relation with Cuba, in that 2 3 years was an explosion in Havana and other part of the island, but specifically in Havana. And you can see how many people become independent business owner, and they offer too many good services and product to American people and other European visitors, but they were in focus more in America. Uh, was amazing. Was amazing.
Now, do you predict Cuban Americans that's been here for quite a while, are they anxious to get back to their homeland to do business and invest?
Yes. I predicted that you know, we have to keep in mind that the new technology changed the world. We have to be changed in the world. It's technology the phone, smartphone, and the second COVID. The pandemic and the technology changed the whole world and changed Cuba and changed the United States. No? Yeah, that is the first point. The second point is Americans, Cuban Americans that have been here for years, want back to the origins. If they can back home, investment over there and retirement over there, and getting from here their retirement, like Mexican people are available to do, you know? And this is my dream. At any point when I become older, back to my country, that when I still have family, and living inside my family, with my retirement in the United States, and living in the United States for my kids and my grandkids. I just coming sometime, visiting, spending the time that is needed to living in the country for paperwork and all of those issues, and back again to my retirement. When you getting older, and I'm talking about people on the 80, you don't have too much to do. And what you need at that time is love. And what is the principal love in the life that you have? The love for your family, your friend,
Right.
your life of the country. And I can tell you, beside the too many change that have been occurred in Cuba society due to the lack of economy, love is still there.
Yeah, so that was my question. Are they, is Cubans a generally happy people?
We are a party people.
I know it.
Cubans are noisy people. Cubans are party people. We like coming together,
Celebrate life.
celebrate life. Any moment that has to be celebrated, we want it to be part.
I guess, again, I'm speculating, so keep me straight, Fernando. So, anyone who is economically challenged, in other words, if you don't have your immediate shelter, food, source of income, uh, in we see it here, that immediately puts families and people under stress and distress. Um, you can be as happy as you want when you're worried about how you're going to live day to day, then it weighs on you. Is that fair to say? Cuba went through some periods of that, and did that hurt the common man there as far as for their life view?
Definitely, yes. You know, I can tell you, more than 50% of the Cuban population is broken. It's broken because part of your family living in whatever country. I'm not gonna say just the United States because Cuba are spread around the world. Because you have to thinking in this. One thing that the revolution did for Cuba is provide education. And in the first 20 years of my life, we getting the best education that we
I read that the other day. Y'all have the highest literacy rate in this whole.
in this hemisphere. Yes,
Yes.
that
So
even
so.
bigger than higher than the United States. So when you get it, that kind of level of education, but you have lacks of resources to improving your life, what you're gonna do is go away and looking for a better life. Where you find a better life? Any place that offer one thing. First, freedom to go, and the second, economic opportunity in the place. You know, and if you see the history of Cuba, any country that Cuba are, they become successful community.
So do you think, since they've been away from free enterprise and entrepreneurship for 60 years, um, is it going to take a minute for the locals to get into business and understand the free enterprise system and running a business and the disciplines that come with it?
Definitely, it's a learning process. It's something new, but the good thing we have the influence of not just the United States. We have the influence the people like emigrate to Europe, the people emigrate to Asia, the people that emigrate even for Latin America, even from people that emigrate to Africa. They getting in all of those countries the knowledge to become a business people, and then they now teach our family, our friends in Cuba to become independent. Uh, the government in Cuba have been smart enough to recognize that change is not coming because they want it. Change is coming because the new generation in Cuba is far away from the generation that did the revolution.
I tell you, Fernando, what scares me is, man, I don't want to see a bunch of sandals or these big resorts and it just becoming this big, tourist attraction. I view Cuba as having so many resources, being an export country, being, you know, more than a tourist country. What are your thoughts on that? How would you like to see Cuba 50 years from now if you had your wish?
Yeah, definitely. I want to see Cuba in a balance, the balance that they already have, the balance in the society. Capitalism, like the United States, is not really good because you're building too much difference between uh, working class, middle class, and rich class. It's too much different between the three class. What I'm looking is a balance. Balance like Switzerland and other European countries have. You know, you have the freedom to be a business owner to making the money that you want, but you have to have the uh, obligation to put money back to the society that you live. Because at the end, if you can see here in the United States, big corporations start to do that philanthropy. They donate a lot of money to to people. The problem with that donation is they don't donate in regular base to the people. And if you're getting money one time to do something and you're not getting more money, whatever you're building is coming down again. You
Yeah,
know?
you need that money flow.
Flow, sustainable. And also, the best thing that you can provide people is education and the freedom to think by themselves.
So if you look at the West Indies, if you are your countries in, the two places I'm thinking of right now, I'd like you to comment on is you have Jamaica who's having their problems as well, and then you have somebody like Puerto Rico, which is however you want to call our relationship. They want to sort of be a state. Where does Cuba fall anywhere that looks sort of like that, or maybe like a Trinidad, or how do you can you compare to any of those other models in that area where you think Cuba's most likely to head?
How I see the future is a mixed economy, not just capitalist economy or socialist economy. No, has to be a mixed economy. Economy where you allow people be a business owner making money and spending their money as they want it because you're working hard for getting. But the second, you need an economy that care about the people that for whatever reason don't have the opportunity to become a business owner and be successful in life, And you have to provide resources and the best care as you can. And that mission had to come in from government, but also from the private sector. Private health sector has responsibility over the country that you live in.
So, all right, if that's going to happen, then people has to own land and have something to engage with for business. What does that look like? Is there landowners still in Cuba? Is there opportunity for people that have assets to engage with a business?
Right now, yes, Cuba is changing law, adapting law to allow people be business owner, has their own land, has their own building, has their own whatever resource is available. Now, it's a long process. It's not overnight because you have to have a regulation first, but second, you have to keep in mind the embargo is still in place, some bad decision is still made, and people have to learn how to do business. Not because you have a good idea, you have a business.
Yes.
You have to be consequent with your business, develop it over the year, put money, effort, and time in your side the business, and years later, you have a successful business. You wanted to know the history of business in the United States, the government, small business, administration defined business is you open 100 business a year, your 15 business survival at the end of the 5 years, and your 5% survival at the end of the 10 years. That 5% remain for the rest of the life.
Got it.
You know?
So let's get a little on the personal side. So you said you had a daughter or a granddaughter come over.
No, my daughter. No, I don't have the privilege to have a granddaughter yet.
Okay. So your daughter, how old was she when she came to the United States?
3 years old.
3?
Yes.
Okay. So not to pick on your daughter. So your daughter, who was mainly raised here in Lafayette by 2 Cuban Americans who grew up in Cuba. Okay. What's the difference between your daughter now and someone her age in Cuba? Is what type of culture gap are we facing here? Because that's really what we're ultimately talking about. If we're engaging the two commerces and the two countries and the cultures together, like how much Cuban y'all put in her and how much American is in there? Because it's inevitable you get westernized a little bit when you come over here, the good and the bad, right?
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah. She is a mixed culture. You know, she's grew up in this culture that is beautiful in Acadiana. It's a very diverse community, diverse culture. It's what the Cajun said. This is a pot, and we have a gumbo with different flavor, and we just added a new flavor that we are not the first that added Cuban flavor here. We have Cuban here from the 61. You know, sometimes they become so notices in the community. Sometimes they come on the radar. And what happens is Cuba, when you're spending too much time in one side without visiting the other side, you are losing your identity with the other side. This is what happened to the same as all those Cubans that emigrate in the 60s. You know, they really don't have identification with Cuba. They feeling more American. And is they thinking in Cuba is the reminder of my parents were in Cuba. You know? This is gonna happen with my daughter. I still
So is
alive.
that good? Tell me the good and the bad of that. Let me tell you why. I had Panat on the other day. And so his parents came over in 1979. And Panat's mother had Panat, as you remember his story, at the Panat refugee camp in Taiwan before he got here. So he came here as an infant. And so you have his parents from Laos, speak Laos, all that stuff. Panat is sort of 1.5, he called it. He learns English in the English school, but of course he speaks his parents' language. But now the generation after him isn't interested in speaking the native tongue, and they less interested in the cultures. And so I think that's just a natural progression. My children would do the same thing if we moved to Cuba.
Exactly.
They would be
Cuban,
Cubans, man. They'll be partying in the streets with y'all, and I'll be with them. But so I said all that to you know, I know preserving the culture is extremely important, but as a parent, uh, letting it go and watching her flourish here, that has to be special too, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's hard, no? But it's natural life, no? For me, I prefer that she integrate fully on this society. What I'm looking on her and try to educate her is you never, ever, ever forgot it from your parent come from and your family that leaving behind. Because the right thing to do is helping all of those people that at any moment are part of your blood and at any point in the life what is so important for me to be here. And this is what I'm trying to build in this business that I'm giving you this flyer. Cuban American Transportation Services. I was also a local guy that this company picked up me to helping open a business line between Morgan City and Havana, Cuba. For them, it's about business. For me, it's about make the connection.
Yes.
You know, and this business is gonna be helping me in the near future. I invite people that listen this program that is at any point that can help. Really appreciate it. Open the Cuban Music Festival in Louisiana with uh, people from the island. Allow them to come in here and bring what is now in Cuba and update the memory because when you're thinking in Cuba, most of the people thinking in the 50s, and that Cuba is gone.
I love what you're doing, and the whole cafe project is to celebrate our cultures and differences. And in other words, I think if you look at our past as a country, um, we often want to, if you come into this country, you're going to speak English, you're going to our school, you're going to do this and that, and sort of try to indoctrinate into this idea of America. Um, I don't think there's any confusion with immigrants on what America is and what America needs to be and become. And so, as they journey into adapting into American society and ways, uh, personally, the cafe is not interested in making anyone quote unquote American. I want to know how y'all dance and eat and communicate and love each other as you're on that journey. And so, if we do that, in my opinion, you spoke at the Veille the other day. Uh, I think the idea is to embrace it along the way, and like you said it best, just another nice flavor into the gumbo. And but at the end of it, we're creating this ever changing free country, America. What does it look like? It's really for everyone. And so I applaud your attitude towards that and what you're trying to do with the Cubans here in Acadiana.
Well, I can say just thank you to you, first of all, for having me in the cafe on Saturday and allow me to speak to your public, and also for having me today here in your show. And what you're doing with the cafe is amazing. It's amazing. Uh, I was a little bit jealous because I was thinking doing the same when I had that opportunity and resources, no? And I said, this guy is doing my dream, and now,
Hey man, we'll start another branch.
yeah, we don't. I know how to do it. It's already here, no?
Right.
What I would like to is invite the rest of the community, whatever they come from, to come in and experience that. Coming here, talk to another communities, open to other people, and share how the journey was to come into America. American is a beautiful land. America is the American dream is still alive. But
Absolutely.
what the people say, American dream is not something that you can knocking at the door, kicking on the ground, and money and oil come out. American dream is opportunity.
Absolutely.
An opportunity coming with you. Why you are able to sacrifice your time, your talent, your effort to do it. That is what American dream is about it.
Absolutely. And we love, um, you know, people to remind us of that. Sometimes we sort of take it for granted sometimes, and so I love seeing that. So look, Fernando is the president of Louisiana's Cuban Club in Lafayette. How strong? How many members or how many people participate in the Cuban Club?
It's not too many, really. Uh, when Obama opened the relation, yeah, almost all community was interested to be part of this project, helping engage with the family. Later, when Trump administration come out and put in back all everything, you lost face.
Right.
So far, it helped engage people in the project. Just a few people keeping alive.
Mm-hmm.
And now I believe that Cuban American Transportation Services is almost very close to open the line again from Morgan City to Havana, Cuba, to shipping package and container that is going to be helping the MIPYME owners in Havana or product that they wanted to buy in the United States, we will be able to bring to them in Havana. That can stimulate again the community to coming together and, engage with the family in the other side.
So, the Cuban Club is sort of local family, but you're saying, no, 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 I want to go commercial. I want to connect a direct extension card from Cuba to Morgan City and Acadiana, and we're going to do commerce and business.
Correct.
Okay, and so that's a whole nother level. That's involving people in Cuba, people from here. I mean, you're creating some jobs and some commerce and some. You're opening up those arteries to bring some life to the relationship.
Correct. It's hard. It's a hard work because it's a lot of engagement with different businesses, different people. You have to have the commitment to participate in too many meetings and bring to the table what is in common for all of those people to do business in both sides.
So how hard is it? I mean, I'm still thinking we're under some type of embargo or something, but I mean, can you free trade right now with Cuba, or do you have to go through a lot of regulation?
No, we have to go to a lot of regulation, but business can be done. And this is what I'm doing.
I know.
From years, 60 years, politicians, people in Miami, talking about scared the rest of the United States, telling Cuba is a communist country. We don't have to do business over there. We don't have interests in Cuba, but they keep doing business, you know? And they no can close that business for one reason. The large Cuban population living there, and everybody in all families that are living in Florida has time in Cuba. Mothers, parents in general, sister, sons, has uncle, relative, whatever, and we are so familiar that we not leaving our family behind, even for political reasons.
Right.
You can thinking and whatever you're thinking, but you're still my family. We don't have this kind of division between family. Besides, some people, try to do that. My family in Cuba has adult discussion. It's my family, no matter what.
So, just for the record, people, your general person in Cuba, what are their thoughts of America and Americans? I mean, we have this idea that for some reason they are anti-American. Straighten that out for us.
Cuba is part of America. Cuba is our next
90 miles.
90 miles, our neighbor.
Right. Right.
You know, is in Cuba at any point thinking in another part of the world, China, Russia, whatever, India, or whatever other country, it's just because all of those countries offer the help that Americans refuse for economic reason more than the political reason offered to Cuba. You know? And they found a way to survive it. And this is what the country is doing. But the general population, we love America. We are part of America.
You know, I think of that all the time. If you remove the politics and put a 90-mile bridge and just leave people alone, it would be wonderful.
It will be another part of the
You
United
just
States.
drive over there. Right.
It
Just
would be another
continue the
part.
Keys, just go from Key West to, and I think if you open it up and just leave it alone, the people are going to work it out in a short amount of time.
Yeah, but you have to understand thing. When you the first thing in America is business. No?
Oh, no doubt.
Keeping that fight for some group is about business.
Yeah.
It's about money.
Yeah.
They don't care about people. They care about how much money they're making in that process. And this is what Louisiana, and I have been talking to different politicians at all levels, try to running away from that mindset and coming and doing what is the best interest for Louisiana and for Louisiana businesses. Cuba offer for Louisiana business a new market, a huge market, a region market that we can take in just to open this line.
So I ran into at the Latino Festival Lewis with the ACLA, Lewis Mora.
ACLA.
Okay, and ACLA. Okay, so I know you waving the Cuban flag, but do you affiliate and join in with the other Latinos?
Yeah, definitely. You're not living alone here.
Right.
We're working with all community.
Now, Lewis said there's over 10,000 Latinos in Lafayette area.
No, more than that.
More than that.
According to the Census Bureau, we are about 60,000 people living in Lafayette and surrounding area.
Acadiana. 60,000.
60,000. We are 4.5 of the percent on the population.
And for the viewers, because I was confused, what is considered Latino?
Okay, it's a misconception about what Latino meaning. Latin coming from the language, the root of the language is the Latin. But Latin is Italian, is French, is Portuguese, okay? And also Spanish. So you have these four mother language that have the same root. Now, we consider Latin everything that is in the southern border of the United States to the Patagonia.
So,
Yeah.
and
Even the Caribbean islands are Latins. Now, when this is about consideration, when coming to the language speaker, we divide on three languages. Brazil is the large Portuguese country, speaking country. We have the Caricom Island that speak English, and we have all the countries that we are 21 countries that speak Spanish.
but like the catacombs, like I spent a little time in Trinidad, they all speak Queen's English, I call it, but that wouldn't be considered Hispanic
No,
or
they are not
Latino. That
They
would-
consider Latino, not Spanish.
They are considered Latino.
Latinos.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Latin.
that's confusing.
It's confused because the denomination, besides coming with the language, was adapting to talking all country under the American border.
But so, like, would Jamaica be Latino? Or the Caribbean?
Okay. Now, that is the denomination. How all of those countries that speak English, considering they say they are part of the CARICOM, they are English spoken islands.
So if you ask them, they'd say Catacomb, not Latino.
Correct. You're not
But if they
calling.
say Latino, nobody's offended.
Nobody's offending, and they because they feeling inclusive. What it mean Latino meaning is inclusive. Everybody in Latin America.
Okay, that's
That
fair.
is what it meaning.
That's fair.
Now, when coming to the language, we don't speak Latin language. We speak Spanish. Even you asking, this is funny. You asking the Spain uh, people from the Spain if they are Latino, they say no, we are European. They are not Latino. But you
It's,
have to ask it. But you speak in Spanish? Yes.
I guess
So,
it's what you identify as,
correct.
and that's okay.
Definitely. We cannot divide for that kind of stuff.
Well, let's come to Acadiana again. So, what is some of your ideas? What can we do? What can your group do and the cafe do to um, to incorporate our cultures together more? I know the first thing that a lot of people say is, well, let's have more festivals, or like we had the other night. That was beautiful, by the way. I
Yes.
enjoyed that. All the
Yes.
dancers and the costumes, and that was special.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, really enjoyed that. Um, but I think it might have been you and I talking about this the other day. If you the Festival International, you see some mixing going on, but still in all, a lot of people like to hang out in their tribes.
Correct.
And so you're all going to one thing together, but how do we engage? Oh, one thing I'm trying to do at the cafe is have the 3 minute speeches. You gave one, a beautiful one the other day. I think it's an opportunity for us to take teaspoonfuls of enrichment and understanding. Um, so, maybe we won't solve it today at the podcast, but maybe we can agree to start a conversation on some different ways, and sometimes there are small groups to to do just that, to sort of stir that gumbo pot a little bit, and get us together. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you are doing fantastic. You have a really amazing idea, but not just an idea. You working for what you're thinking. It could be the better and the most beautiful future for Acadiana as a origin.
Do you think the Latino community here would be interested in participating in what we're trying to do? Not just here at the cafe, but just uh, setting up ways to communicate a little better.
Definitely, yes. As a businessman, you know that the most important thing for any businesses is marketing. You have to put out over there cafe. People have to know what cafe is doing, where they are location, what is the purposes, and this is my agreement to you, helping you through the resources that we already have in the city, put out what cafe is doing here in Jonesville,
Right.
you know, and try to engage you with different cultural organization in Lafayette and Acadiana as origin to invite them for festival. And anytime that you are tied to different festival, you can open cafe as a part of the festival that people can come in and gathering together, talking and share history, music, dancing, food, and all of those things that making better way to establish relation between people.
Perfect.
So,
Well, look, me and you're going to get on the road here in a second. Anything that you want to that we left out, or anything that you would like to say, or any misconceptions, or anything that you want to add to the message today?
well, just I wanted to say everybody that is listening to the show, the cafe is now part of the community. It's not just a business. It's a multicultural center that you can reach out, come in, be part of them, and share with the rest of the community everything in love that you have for other people or the culture. That is important, making you feeling much better human being. And We have now another opportunity coming soon, different festival that is gonna be occurring in our city. Be part of any festival like Acadians and Creole Festival, Latin Festival that you were in last week. But we had too many beautiful festival in our origin. Be part of the festival, embrace other culture, and always bring the best of you can as your human being, but the best of your culture to the part. That making the Acadiana the best gumbo in the United States South.
Well, I think our goals are lined up, my brother, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for coming on the show. Will you come back when we advance this thing in a little bit and tell everybody how we're advancing this thing?
Yeah, definitely. If you invite me when I'm back, I'm gonna be in Cuba next month.
Nice.
Our company will be present at the international fair in Havana. It's the bigger and large fair in Havana. All businesses from around the world will be present there, and we are gonna do marketing our company, but also letting know people that we are gonna start this business line. It's a new avenue, a new opportunity for many businesses. They can save time and money just getting our services. And if you invite me when I'm back, I'm gonna share with the community all my experiencing over there, and continue talking about cafe.
How can people keep up with your with how you're doing with your commerce, your business? Is there a website or something, or just stand by and you're gonna let them know?
We have a website. It's Cuban American Transportation Services.net. That is a website for the company. But also we have a Facebook page for Louisiana's Cuban Club. You can see over there everything that is tied to Cuba. Is there, is posted there. And we have too many resources to put out what we are doing for the community. We invite people in the business side and the cultural side to embrace all those new ideas and opportunity, because it's not just good for us in this side. You're gonna be helping Cubans inside the island. And if you wanted to travel the islands in the future, please keep it in touch with Cafe and with me.
All right. Okay, then let's wrap it up. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for joining in True Brew Bobcast. Try to join the cafe right here at cafedetentela.com. Make a profile. Please put your photo in there. That way I can remember who you are. And just stay tuned. We got a lot of great things coming. Meeting some great friends like my buddy here, Fernando. And stay tuned. Y'all have a great day. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.